Say your prayers, call the cop. I think that it's really, it's infuriating. And that just say, so simple. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Thank you for your service. Noble and honorable position, and we need them. So we have to do better. All right, up next, liberals are so fed up with America's homeless crisis that some are calling on President Biden to use the military to fix the problem.
Some liberals are saying enough is enough when it comes to America's homeless crisis. NBA legend Bill Walton is no stranger to progressive causes, but he is proposing that President Biden use the military and build a tent city to get San Diego vagrants out of the city. He explains why, quote, most of us can no longer walk or bicycle our downtown city streets, sidewalks, and parks without facing an obstacle, of course, of tents, bodies, excrement, needles, trash, and a slew of walking zombies. Walton's plan includes 2,000 acres of open land with toilets, portable showers, and medical tents. He says it's worth trying when compared to the billions wasted. You know, Dana, what I find interesting about this is I asked myself, though, you know, NBA legend, I mean, Bill Walton is a legend, but to me, it's kind of like the border. It's like people don't get animated about the border until it affects them. Bill Walton has a great plan, but if you keep reading the story, he was assaulted as he was riding his bicycle through this area. So he's got this plan of 2,000 areas of open land. What do you think?
I think that it shows a failure of imagination on behalf of the local elected leaders and your local government in order to deal with the issues. So you have somebody like Bill Walton who says, okay, I'll try. Can I raise a possibility? And maybe at least we could debate it and see if we can do something. But super interesting that a lot of these cities with the worst homelessness have the really high taxes as well. So you're getting taxed, but you're not getting the services that you need. And so you have to try to figure out a way to like protect yourself in your city because you don't necessarily want to move or you can't. One, maybe you can't move because it's just physically impossible for you to go. You don't have the money to, or you can't sell your house because nobody wants to live there anymore. And the cities are on this precipice of a real downward spiral. You take all of the homelessness, all of the crime, plus people changing their work habits, working from home maybe 2 or 3 days out of the work week. And all of these downtown areas are going downhill. I would also point out that it's the homelessness crisis and the immigration crisis. One of the reasons we have these humanitarian crises is because the policies were supposed to be compassionate and they were supposed to be the humanitarian way. And that's turned out not to be true. So turning this big ship around takes a lot of people and somebody like Bill Walton with some creativity.
All right, Greg, you've talked a lot about this. Apparently there's a plan, this federal emergency homeless zone to build that tent city with the toilets, the portable showers and all that stuff versus what some states and cities are doing, which is literally making homelessness a crime. So it's where it's illegal to live out of tents. And I think that's kind of where Dana was headed. You know, we've got this very humanitarian, let's build a tent city, but let's make it a crime. Where are you on this?
Well, I believe that if you choose to want to live that way, you should live that way, but you just don't live among the housed, right? It's just like, you know, if you believe that no one chooses this lifestyle, you don't know human nature. Over time, people get used to anything. They get used to anything. There are people that choose an all-drug lifestyle, no rent, no bills, get their free food, find a place that they can live where they can rough it, especially in a warm climate. That is a choice. Walton is a lifelong hippie who loves San Diego. He's heartbroken over his city. He understands the mentality behind this. He understands who he's dealing with. He understands the reality of the homeless situation that is often papered over by the fact that, oh, my God, they're all veterans. They're all families living paycheck to paycheck. That's not true. You spend time in dealing with the homeless. You see that a lot of it is people who have made choices about their lives. So I think, you know, I don't know how much money I've spent in taxes for this city and watched it go nowhere. I would pay the hell out of this.
Yeah.
I would support this. It's what I've been talking about for a while, an autonomous zone for people who wish to be homeless. This is where you can go and practice this experimental lifestyle, right? And if you're back in the city panhandling, we'll take you back there or we'll get you help. But you're going to go back to that place because that's where it's legal. That's where it's legal. And it could get really ugly and gross. It could be it could be like the Road Warrior ×5. But you know what? That's what they want in the city. They cannot live on your street.
Right.
They have to exercise their lifestyle somewhere else, and we will help you. We will help you. I will help you.
Okay. Well, what do you think of that lady squirting the hose on the homeless lady?
I think it was a dude, right?
It was
squirting on
It was a guy squirting the
I think
woman.
everybody is at the edge of their frustration.
True,
like it's
true.
like you could say, "My gosh, that's heartless." Well, maybe that person gets up every day and sees human shit on his front door.
And you know what? A lot of these 7-Elevens and other stores are doing, Geraldo, is they're blasting classical music and opera music to try to keep the homeless away because they have a business they want to conduct. You know what? There's an ordinance. You don't have the right to live on the street.
What about vagrancy prosecutions they used to have back in the day?
Well,
where it was actually a crime to...
And
What
then they would
about-
drive them,
what
though,
about-
Geraldo. Remember, they would arrest them, and then they would drive them to another city.
Or take them to the bus stop. Absolutely.
And what about the fact that you've got now Mayor Adams saying that the mentally ill in New York City, who are some of the homeless, I think you'd agree with that, Greg, he's saying if they're a danger to themselves or others, I want the police to move them to a mental facility.
But the reason I like Bill Walton's idea is that it is an idea.
Yep.
It is something... Let's give it a try.
Yeah.
I mean, getting the
Can't hurt.
Getting the person, the woman who was squirted to the nice camp with the nice
Or
tent,
getting her
and
to
all
a
the rest
facility
of it. I
where
mean,
she
it's
gets
not,
help.
but it's not easy because of all the
you've got all these millions
Yeah, go
litigation
ahead,
and
Joey.
legislation.
You got all these millions of people that can't wait to join the military. Why not move in a bunch of homeless next to them and tell them, here's another perk? I mean, it's not their problem to figure out. It's the city's problem to figure out. It's
Right.
not even the federal government's problem to figure out.
Right.
These cities have created for themselves. San Antonio were busing their homeless up to Austin because Austin made such stupid decisions. I'm probably the only one here who has worked every day, well, maybe not, but every day of my life for 3 years of my life as a teenager next to two men that kept themselves homeless. They lived under bridges, they'd squat in trailers, they worked manual labor for my dad. They made more money than my dad did most weeks because my dad owned
What
the
did
business.
they do with the money?
Laying brick and block. On Friday to Monday, they were out doing every drug and every kind of thing you could think of. And I get addiction is a disease. I've seen a lot of people overcome that disease, and I will invest in resources, but you got to want to first. If you don't want to, then you're hurting everybody else,
That's
and you
right.
can go do whatever.
All right,
Just
up
not
next.
in my city.
Go woke and you go broke. The NHL is learning that the hard way after getting smacked down by Ron DeSantis.
Remember that?
Trying to forget it.
Desperate to broaden its appeal from its traditional white guy base, the National Hockey League has been forced to backtrack over an ad it posted for an upcoming Florida job fair after Governor Ron DeSantis' office slammed the ad as discriminatory. In the now deleted Help Wanted post, the organizers required participants in the fair to be either female, a minority, LGBTQIA+, a person with disability, or a veteran. That's it. Straight white men who didn't serve in the military need not apply. DeSantis' team blasting the job fair event, quote, NHL, you are officially on notice about your planned events in Florida. Unlawful discrimination will not be tolerated. It kind of reminds the judge of the Irish need not apply days in the 19th century.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how with the woke we keep going back to that?
Going backwards, yeah.
You know, that it is a backward trajectory that the woke want to bring us to, which I think is a takedown of this country. You know, get rid of everything, get rid of the statues, get rid of the concepts, the fundamentals like law and order, and all white men, you're worthless and you're a supremacist. But the thing about this is that one of the things I wanted to address is the word aloha. They said that in that word aloha, that we shouldn't use it because we don't really know the meaning of the word aloha, which I always thought was hello. And they're saying, no, it signals more and you are appropriating if you use that word. I mean, how crazy is this?
It's like hello and love and all the good stuff all in one word, but they don't want you to use it.
Yeah, they don't want you to use it. Now, I used to swear in newly naturalized citizens, like 300 people at a time. And it was the happiest day of their lives. And there would be Indians and there would be Spanish and French and Egyptians. And I would say hello in like 10 different languages as part of including everyone, right? Not trying to exclude them. It's crazy. It's just, could they
Well,
just
I'm the only one at this table who can say hola or hombre. You can no longer say it.
I can't say hola?
No, you cannot. And Greg Gutfeld is the only one who can't go to the job fair.
Why?
You're a straight white man.
Whitey.
Well, I don't know. I'm a whitey. I don't know. I think they should open this up to include the hockey, actual players.
Oh, the hockey players.
Yes, I mean it's like why are they just limiting this to office jobs and executive operations? I think that all those people that you mentioned should be eligible to play hockey, and if you don't do that, you're a bunch of racists.
My daughter told me the other day, Joey, that you can no longer talking real estate. You can no longer say master bedroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you hear that before?
Yes.
I never heard it before.
I've never owned a house big enough to have one. To call
That says a lot.
Did you ever work in a field?
Can't say that.
You can't say it anymore.
Field.
But real quick on this, hey, listen, their response to this was, we wanted to target audiences that may not be that familiar with hockey. Well, let me tell you, there are a lot of straight white dudes down in the South that don't know anything about hockey. And while we appreciate the idea of seeing some Canadians and Russians fight in American cities every now and then, we don't know much about the sport. But you'd be surprised at the redneck ingenuity we could bring to the table if you weren't excluding us for being straight white male and not knowing much about your sport. And on this USA Today thing about words, I'm all about it. Listen, I better not hear y'all say y'all again. If you're not from below the Mason-Dixon or west of Louisiana, Texans, hear me out. Don't say y'all again, because that's our culture. That's who we are. To us, Jeff Foxworthy is a poet, not some stand-up comic sideshow like you treat him. You better get my words out your mouth, okay? You hear me? All right, come on.
Okay, Will Smith. Dana, it's clumsy, but doesn't hockey have to broaden its appeal?
Well, I don't know what the NHL press office was doing, but did they miss the whole Disney, Florida, Ron DeSantis debacle? I mean, DeSantis wins, and he has made a promise, and he's making good on the promise. He said Florida is where wokeness goes to die, and he's making good on that. This also reminds me of that group I've mentioned before. It's called Do No Harm. It is where this are making sure that medical professionals are not basically having this happen to them. They get anonymous tips from people in the profession saying, well, this job opening just went up, and it says that basically no Asians need apply. That's not allowed. So Do No Harm will call them, call the state, call as their lawyers and say, you have to take it down. And they often will win, but they'll go to court for it. And that's what you need, people like that or people like DeSantis and others who are saying enough of this.
Here's the surprising thing about that. I guarantee you when those people are contacted, whether it's the NHL or not, or any other organization, are surprised to hear that it's illegal. They're like, wait, what? You can't say?
Let's go say Canadian.
You can't say you want black people? You can't say you want handicapped people?
We're just trying to be fair.
We're just trying to be fair. They are probably they have no idea it's discrimination.
Yeah.
Quickly, DeSantis wins.
What wins what?
He wins the...
What are you talking about?
He gets the props from this. Right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Definitely. Free money.
The fastest is up next.
All right, welcome back. It's time now for the fastest. First up, cultural appropriation. So suburban fans of the massively popular Yellowstone, you might have seen it, are dressing up like cattle ranchers despite having never set foot on a ranch or probably even eaten cattle. Judge, this is your favorite show. Where's your bolo?
Well, I save that for the weekends. Listen, I'll tell you why I think they're doing it. I think everyone wants to feel a part of that time when America was free, when the land is open, when you can be a tough guy, for all the right reasons. They get away with it, but maybe not, depending upon how the season ends. I just think this is America personified. Yeah. And when I see city slickers dressing like this, I love it because I've always been into country music and cowboy boots and all that stuff and horses. So...
Geraldo, I lived in Texas, and I can't lie, the big hats and cowboy boots rubbed off on me a little bit. I'd be all hat and no cattle, I guess. What do you think about it?
Well, I started in the news business. I always wore cowboy boots, and I'm from Brooklyn, so I can't say that I can defend it. Listen, if it makes you feel good, I had a friend named Giorgio Sanangelo, who was a brilliant designer. He was the architect of remember the Indian, the squaw. There was a fashion for a time. There was you wore the fringes and all the rest of it, anyway, it made people feel good. There wasn't all this mess about cultural appropriation. People weren't as sensitive. Makes you feel good. You wear it. If you want, makes you studly and ranchy, do it.
I like that, studly. Dana, you might actually have some context on this. Maybe you can explain it to us.
Well, I love the show as well. And I was also very excited about, in the article, learning about this place in Colorado called the Greeley Hat Works. It's run by a guy named Trent Johnson. He's the owner. It's been in business for 114 years. Yeah. And now they're selling hats. They can't keep them in stock. Yep. They're like selling all these hats. So I'm happy about that. I'm also happy that country is coming back to country music.
Yes.
And partly because of this show, I think.
You're absolutely right. Maybe not Nashville, but country music.
Yes,
those
exactly. Thank you.
Greg, I know you've got so much to say about this. You've probably seen the whole series twice now. What do you think about it?
I'm a little disappointed that they aren't copying our show. Our show is as popular as this show, Yellowstone. I don't buy this story. I don't believe that this is happening in cities. I don't believe it for a second. This is kind of reminds me of the Miami Vice craze. Remember, it's like all of a sudden everybody was supposedly. No, it was just people in that area of Miami. So this is bogus. It's stupid. Don't take trends from TV. I watch Jesse Waters' Primetime to find out what not to wear. I see what he's wearing and I burn it.
I've seen people in this building wear Yellowstone vests.
Well, you know what? They're sad.
They are not. They're
sad, pathetic people, Judge. Well, wait a minute. You think you have to be proud copying somebody on a show?
Yeah,
what are you talking about? I've had it with you, Judge.
Who are you copying?
We're going to take this to a commercial. Don't wait and see what I am wearing on Gutfeld tonight. All right, one more thing is up next.
One more thing. I get to go first tonight. What a show. Oh, my God. We have Martha McCallum, Jonathan Joey Jones. Who's he? Charlie Hurt, Kat Timpf. Exciting. Let's do this. Greg's Fox News. I had some breaking Fox News right now. Let's go to the McGillicuddy backyard in Mobile, Alabama. We got a fox learning to use a trampoline. Look at this.
He's having fun.
Maybe he's having fun, or maybe he's just confused. We don't know.
He's trying to hunt.
He's rabid.
He's trying to hunt?
I don't know what he's doing. But there you go. Isn't that adorable? We weren't allowed trampolines in my childhood.
I had one.
What do you think
I'm sure you did.
In the barn.
There you go.
You had a fox
and you're
in the
up,
barn?
I think, Dana.
Huh?
You had a fox in the barn?
No, a trampoline.
Oh.
She had a
My
fox
sister
in the
has
barn.
a fox in the backyard of her house.
She had a
Colorado.
fox in the barn.
Anyway, all right. I wanted to wish a very happy birthday to a longtime fan of the Five. Her name is Mercedes Morrison, and she turns 106 today.
Wow.
She still reads her Bible every day. She loves board games, Denver Broncos. That's her team. And she reads 2 books a week.
Good for her.
She credits her longevity to the blessing of a long and happy marriage. Her one and only husband, lived to be 100. And she has a good sense of humor and, Judge, a lot of dark chocolate.
There you go.
All right, so Mercedes, have a very happy birthday. Thank you for being a big fan.
Happy birthday, Mercedes. Okay, so for me, tonight I'll be hosting Jesse Waters' Primetime. And I think they're supposed to have something. There it is, guest host Jimmy Pirro. We've got Jim Jordan on, Byron Donalds. We're going to talk a lot about Hunter and Joe Biden and the difference in the investigations from the ones that we've been accustomed to. And my one more thing involves a $1 million lotto ticket. Ooh. They couldn't find the ticket. It was in the wife's purse. They couldn't find it. She finally tipped it upside down and found it stuck on the bottom. Wow. So they now have found $1 million, and they're a happy couple.
No, they divorced. He took the money. He just dumped her right then and there.
He was mad at her because she lost it in the purse.
All right, Geraldo.
Kids are great. Grandkids are greater because less wear and tear. I've been spending a lot of time with my grandkids. It's Liam, Jace, Ella Rose. That's the last day of the Rockefeller Center tree right across the street. And, of course, we had to go to FAO Schwartz, so Ella was the Barbie of the day. It snowed in front of Gabriel's place in Monmouth. That's 18 feet of snow. They're digging their car out. That's their car in there. And Desmond, Gabriel's 8-year-old, watch him. He's great already on the.
All right, Joey, you got 20 seconds.
All right, real quick. There was a horse spotted in an obscure place. There's some horses here at the McDonald's just trotting through the drive-thru. Apparently they left a mess but cleaned it up. And I guess, hey, when gas prices get so high, you got to do what you got to do. I heard those horses are 1 horsepower.
All right.
I love that.
That's it for us. Special reports up next. Hey, Brett.
Horses at the McDonald's, foxes on trampolines. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Greg.
Foxes in the
So how did
barn.
you know?
Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Bret Baier. Breaking tonight, even members of his own party are looking for cover tonight politically after the discovery of additional classified documents at President Biden's Delaware residence over the weekend. This is another tranche of documents. One California Democratic Congresswoman calls the situation, quote, an embarrassment. Republicans are also upset over the apparent absence of visitor logs at the president's home in Delaware. White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich starts us off tonight live on the North Lawn. Good evening, Jackie.
Good evening, Brett. President Biden is carrying on as the docudrama unfolds, celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day by hitting Republicans in what sounded at times like a campaign speech.
Well, that's how they're starting their new term. Cutting taxes for billionaires.
President Biden touting his administration's achievements today as questions swirl about the motivation for keeping the news about his apparent mishandling of classified material out of the news for as long as it was.
Who made the decision to not tell the American people 6 days before an election?
Democrats admit President Biden may have jeopardized national security.
I don't think we can exclude the possibility without knowing more of the facts. We have asked for an assessment in the intelligence community of the Mar-a-Lago documents. I think we ought to get that same assessment.
And say this is not good for Biden or their party.
It's an embarrassment, no doubt about it.
This is the kind of thing that the Republicans love.
House Republicans demanding a record of who may have had access to the president's garage.
Hunter Biden has all these unsavory relationships with foreign entities and profited over those relationships, and he had access to this home.
But the White House tells Fox they don't keep visitor logs for Biden's home because, quote, like every president in decades of modern history, his personal residence is personal.
We wonder if the Secret Service had records now. That's our next question, because he still had Secret Service protection.
In what may be the first glimpse of a 2024 playbook with the special counsel's investigation undercutting momentum after the midterms, the White House is hitting back, accusing the House GOP of faking outrage and saying their demands should be met with skepticism and they should face questions themselves about why they're politicizing this issue and admitting they actually do not care about the underlying classified material, pointing to this comment from House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer on Sunday.
At the end of the day, my biggest concern isn't the classified documents, to be honest with you. My concern is how there's such a discrepancy in how former President Trump was treated.
More signs of how the White House might frame this if Biden runs for a second term. Today, the White House hit the Trump administration for not releasing White House visitor logs and also cataloged GOP comments downplaying the Mar-a-Lago documents and painting criticism of Biden as hypocrisy, Brett.
Enough hypocrisy to go around. Jackie Heinrich live on the North Lawn. Jackie, thanks. Republicans are making a big push to investigate what they are calling the weaponization of government. The head of the House Judiciary Committee says federal agencies are committing election interference. GOP lawmakers are also shining a light on some of the people closest to the president. Congressional correspondent Aisha Hasni takes a look tonight.
Tonight, House Republicans are eyeing President Biden's family members in order to figure out who came close to those classified documents found at his home after the White House said there are no visitor logs.
We'll have to seek it through testimony with family members or those who have been at the residences.
While that does not mean formal subpoenas, it does show how eager Republicans are in getting answers. So much so, Speaker Kevin McCarthy summoned top House Republicans tonight on a holiday to assign assign lawmakers to committees while the House is on break.
I think we want to collect more of the data, more of the information.
That includes a new Judiciary Subcommittee on the weaponization of government with subpoena power over federal agencies. Republicans say it will reveal years of double standards and election interference at the hands of the DOJ.
2016, they spy on Trump's campaign. 2018, it's the Mueller investigation. 2020, they suppressed the Hunter Biden story. 2022, they raid the president's home 91 days before an election, but they don't tell us about Joe Biden's classified document issue that they knew about prior to the election.
But Democrats say it's Republicans who aren't treating the case fairly.
For the House Democrats to be talking about investigating these issues involving Joe Biden, the whole country can see that. It is downright laughable.
Now, as far as a timeline for what happens next, Republicans tell Fox they're going to take their time gathering information and investigating before announcing any public hearings. They say, Brett, they don't want to make it salacious.
We'll follow it all. Aisha, thank you.
Ah, man. That's some heavy shit, man.
Visit our podcast on Rumble to learn what's really going on in Biden's China, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.